Hi, welcome to the podcast. So you're the customer experience operations lead at Otrium, which is it's like the modern day equivalent to outlet stores, right? It's like an online e-commerce version of outlet shopping. Seems really cool.
Yeah.
And you've just raised like 120 million in March this year. How has that been for you? Like what's been going on like internally, and how's the last year been for you? And yeah, could you just give us a little bit more background? Like, was my description accurate there?
Yeah, of course, it was very accurate. Indeed, yeah, my name is Svitlana. I'm the customer experience operations lead at Otrium. I've been working at Otrium for 8 months, which in normal time doesn't feel like that much, but in Otrium time, it feels like years. The past 8 months, so almost year, has been incredible. I'm first of all extremely happy to be working at Otrium because it's given me everything that I was looking for in a company, and the growth and the development has been insane. So we grew basically about 170% in the last half a year. Basically, 2020 was an insane year. We were actually voted the fastest growing tech company by Deloitte in 2020. And that's just basically the moment I joined, when everything started. I mean, we were growing fast before then, but the last 8 months have been just crazy.
Yeah.
And then the Series C funding, which you mentioned, is very much focused on growing in other markets and specifically in the US. So we've opened a warehouse in the United States. And as you can imagine, all of these elements and this extreme growth is having a big impact on the customer experience side, because with the growth, we also have new issues, new customers, new complaints. So yeah, I have to be honest, I'm very proud of what we've done in these 6 months. We've actually been able to scale up very efficiently.
Yeah, 170% growth in the last 8 months. That's pretty crazy. I know what you mean. Like, even though it's 8 months, you learn so much. Also, if you've really increased your headcount, you're probably one of the longer term people there, right?
Yeah, we have about 350, something around 300 people, but we also work with a lot of external companies. So this is not counting all the partners that we have. Together with the partners, it will probably be close to 400, 500 maybe. So yeah, getting really big. I mean, when I joined, it was still possible to know which people are where, but now I'm already getting lost with the names, and especially seeing as we've been working from home this whole time. So I haven't met most of my colleagues in person. It's all through Slack.
It was the same for me joining Centisum. Just joining in the middle of remote, didn't meet for 6 months, but also working so closely together. So what is the role of customer experience operations lead? What does that mean? Like, what are you in charge of? Because I think all of the world of CX, everyone has titles that mean very different things.
So true. It's very confusing. So it's a good question. Basically, my role, my responsibility is to make sure our customers are happy. And that means not only providing answers to their questions and their issues, but the more challenging element of that is making a customer experience positive when they began with a negative one. So when a wrong item was delivered, or they had a challenging delivery, or something bad happened, usually customers come already with a negative experience. And our goal and mission is to really provide a premium level of customer service, and to make sure a customer leaves feeling like not only all their questions were answered, but also that they even got something more from that conversation. And my team consists of three parts. So it's the B2C, so all the customer interactions across all channels. The other team is B2B. So this is the customer service we provide to our partner brands. And a last small team, but very important one, is training and quality, that maintains a very high level of quality actually of the service. And we make sure that all the agents we onboard are not only trained in how to do their job, but they understand the culture of Otrium, that they understand the context of everything they do, and they are able to really feel like part of Otrium. And this is actually a big challenge because we outsource our customer service activities to a BPO. So that has been a very interesting journey, something I did for the first time personally. And it was great. We actually found a great partner.
So in the middle of all of this, like 8 months or the last year of kind of crazy growth, you have changed BPO provider. Is that right?
Yes, it's true. Well, story is that when I started working, our biggest market, actually still our biggest market is the Netherlands and Belgium. We are a Dutch company, so it's natural that most of our customers are Dutch. So our customer service activities were managed by a company located in Suriname, and they were managing the Dutch language customers. And the other markets were managed by individual outsourced agents and interns sometimes, because some markets were so small that we didn't actually need a full-time agent to manage the service. So as you can imagine, this is not a very sustainable model. So about a month after I joined, so I was still totally fresh, we decided that it's time to change the partner. So we did an extensive amount of research. I talked to a lot of different companies located all over the world, and we actually decided to use a company called WeWow. They're located in Valencia, Spain. And it's just been a success story ever since. The last month we celebrated our 6 months anniversary, but it feels like we've been working for much longer. And in terms of numbers, when we started the transition, the total number of agents was around 12 or 15, and now we are at 36 this month. So it's also been more than double actually.
So there's 36 and they're all sort of outsourced now.
Yeah, exactly. So we started out with just a team of agents, and I think one of the elements of success was that we kind of did really try to control the situation at first while the operations were small, to manage very specifically what our expectations are. So we had a team of agents, and the training team and the team leads were still Otrium. But as we saw that they really were able to take on more ownership and responsibility, we started building a structure within the WeWow team. So now there are team leads, there's a learning and development specialist and a manager. So they're taking on more and more.
That's great. We did a podcast fairly recently about like why you should outsource. So there's like so many benefits to having the experts kind of running your contact center in a way. The scalability, I guess, if you know you're going to grow fast soon, having them be able to fluctuate and expand the capacity.
It's true. It's really all about flexibility, because especially when we're covering so many different markets and the markets are growing at different paces, flexibility is the key word there. So and they have been extremely flexible with the hiring, with the hours. So very happy that we decided to outsource these activities.
So like, what made it successful? What were your success criteria? How do you know that it's successful and those kind of things?
Yeah, there were a few things. So definitely an element was a culture fit, and having a company that really understands what it means to grow quickly. And we really felt from the first conversations with WeWow that they were on the same page with us. I won't talk a lot about their background. I'm sure if anyone is interested, they can find it, but they know what it feels like to be a startup that grows very fast. So that was very important. And they were also able to translate that to the agents, also considering that we were not able to travel there and meet anyone in person. We still haven't. We were not able to directly, kind of export our culture, our understanding, our values to the agents. So we really had to trust the people who are setting up the team there to align with us on this. And that's what they did for sure. And that led to a really high level of motivation. And a customer service role is definitely one where you need to be motivated, where you need to be really aligned with your colleagues, because obviously you're facing a lot of unhappy customers on a daily basis. This is a job that is extremely, energy consuming. So there is a potential to get very demotivated and lose energy. So that was the key element, and they've done a great job there. They have a lot of initiatives, not only on professional development, but also on just basically people having fun, so parties and events, and we try to do them together online sometimes. So that's one element. Another one was communication and really very clear expectation management. So telling them straight away what we want to see, what we want to achieve within the first 3 months. It was actually written out even in our contract about how we wanted the first 3 months to look like. And
Mhm.
not everything, of course, was possible, and things were changing so fast. Some of the expectations actually had to be adjusted. But again, here their flexibility came in. They were very flexible with all of the things that we wanted. And in terms of communication, we have a very stable flow where we have weekly meetings where we look at, we have a weekly start of the week meeting where we look at the week before. We also have an end of the week meeting where we try to already see what lessons we can learn from this week. And we look at the main KPIs and metrics and see what can be improved on both sides, because a lot of the things that they are struggling with actually are things where we have to fix internally with other teams. And we have, of course, a monthly meeting where we do the same. And we have a quarterly integration meeting where we try to get to know each other more and again, focus on the culture. So yeah, that's another important element. There are many more, but I will say just one last important thing that was a big element in the success was the system that we were using. We are using Dixa, and actually they were very well informed about the system because they had already been using it before at WeWow. So that was, yeah, it was really great that even we could exchange tips on different features that we could use and to help each other.
Nice. Well, the last podcast guest we just released was also, they were talking about like just loving Dixa and how they set it up to automatically prioritize tickets and things. Seems like a great new platform.
Yeah, I know. I listened to it. Yes. Yeah, Dixa, I think, is becoming really, we are very happy with Dixa, not only with how the system works, but also with the service. So totally aligned with the previous guest and the statement that the support we get from them, their like account management is incredible.
Yeah, I think Zendesk has to be scared soon. Okay, so culture fit, like in making sure that the BPO can relay your culture to agents and make them motivated, like communication, that's your relationship with them, making them do a good job for you, just like really being clear on what you expect, and having weekly meetings and making sure you like engaging with agents and like
yes engaging and kind of making sure that they remember that these are things that are being looked at. We try not to put a lot of pressure on the agents in terms of their performance. We have different KPIs where we look at the number of tickets and calls per hour, quality of the agents, the tagging, because we also have every conversation needs to be tagged with the category. So these are things we look at, but we also don't, at least we try not to push these things because it can be also demotivating. We really want every person to be responsible for their own performance and work at their own sort of pace. And I think WeWow, again, there are taking a lot of ownership in this sense, trying to really look at the whole team, because there are people who are really great performers. There are people who focus more on quality and also helping others. So yeah, if you're helping and jumping around the office, then obviously your own performance will be worse. So it's really, I don't think it's the best approach basically to really look at personal performance. You have to look at the team as a whole. And if you look at them as a whole, they start to act as a whole and start to help each other. And that's what we've seen.
Yeah, definitely. So do you do like the quality, like the QA stuff? Is that all done by people?
Yeah, we are slowly transferring the quality measurement, the quality tracking team there. At the moment, we are still doing this internally. Quality is the number one most important metric for us. And we have a very kind of serious lady who is managing the quality. We have a very strict list of competencies we want to see from an agent when they're dealing with a customer case, because as I mentioned, premium service is what we aim for. And again, we are seeing now how great WeWow are managing. So we have already started the process of transferring the whole quality tracking team there.
What does, I mean, you touched on it there, but what does high quality premium service look like? What does that mean?
Well, I mean, in terms of the speed of service is important. So I think the number one thing is we're really trying to lower our average response time. At the moment, it's definitely below 24 hours. It's somewhere around 15 hours, some weeks better, some weeks worse. But, and this is the global 24/7 time. So this is not, we're not only counting the working hours, but we want to go towards just almost real-time replies. So that's an important one, I think, from a customer perspective. Getting an instant answer or getting a fast answer is the best service you can get. And from a quality perspective, this is about the way we communicate. So the tone of voice, really understanding the customer need and the customer request. Yeah, the language which is used. So something between formal and informal. So not to be too informal and not to feel that it's a conversation with a friend, but also not to feel like it's something super high level. So it's really a balance. And yeah, I mean, there's a whole list. It's about, repeating what the customer wants before we actually make any action. It's about following up on a request if they are waiting for an answer from us, or following up after a phone call to make sure that everything that we agreed on is also written down. Yeah, I think that those are the main things. So it's just about making the conversation really understandable, clear, leaving a positive feeling on the customer side. And here I have to say, we've seen a few situations where the customers were so happy with the conversation that, for example, one customer sent a big box of presents to the WeWow office. Actually, like, an individual bag for each agent to thank them for the service. One customer wanted to buy cakes for the agents. We also get a lot of stories from customers about how they were helped. Yeah, I won't go into detail, but it really makes the work very fulfilling when we see those success stories.
Well, yeah, definitely. That's amazing. Well, I'm interested to know, like, what is actually really key to making an outsourcing provider like pass down that culture so much, and like make sure everyone's hitting those metrics and things, because that does take a lot of motivation. And like, clearly the agent isn't just like the stereotypical bored, like there for a few months and doesn't care about the job if they're giving that level of service, I would assume.
Yeah, I think that hiring is a very important element. I honestly don't know what magic they use to find these people, but yeah, there's such a diverse team of agents, and like you mentioned, it's not a typical profile of maybe someone who for whom this is their first job and they're, I don't know, still at university or something like that. It's really people very professional, and they come from a diverse background of professions also. So not only customer facing roles, but cinematography, people who have had their own business, cooks, and very diverse. But it's really not, I mean, of course, experience is important, but it's my personal view, and it's also, I think, the view of WeWow, that it's not always about the experience that you've had in terms of the jobs in your CV. It's about your understanding of what is important for the customer and really being able to step into the shoes of the customer. That's what basically customer centricity is about, putting the customer in the middle of everything you do. And I think that's the key there. So they've hired an amazing group of people. That was the first element, and I think that's the most important one to start with.
I guess what you're describing is like empathy level, which is kind of easier to hire for than to train, I would say.
Absolutely. That's very true. Yeah, I mean, you probably know yourself that sometimes people may have a super impressive CV which fits the role completely, but when you have a conversation, you realize that there's something missing there for this particular role. And when you are talking to a customer, very often on the phone, empathy is so important. Yeah, so definitely the hiring is just the first element of success that we have fulfilled. And in terms of how to maintain this motivation, I think the key there is the context, because as a growing company, as a very new company, there are many things we can improve. As any other company, there are issues with the delivery flow. Of course, there are issues with carriers. Yeah, there's always going to be things to work on in the sphere of customer experience. But there's a very big difference between working on a customer issue where you know why this issue has occurred and you know that there's plan in place to fix it. There's a roadmap in a department where they know that they have to fix this eventually and it's having an impact, or simply having to answer, we are working on it, we don't know. And so what we try to provide is the context. So every agent feels like they have the ownership to answer the customer in a very detailed way, or in the maximum detailed way, exactly what went wrong with their order, or when they can expect it, or in general what the issue is about. And this not only gives the agent this feeling of belonging, but it also gives the customer an understanding that we are on top of things and we are aware and we are fixing it. So yeah, I think that the context is very important.
Yeah, definitely. What about on like a broader company perspective? I guess the customer support team is in a way like naturally customer centric, or you'd hope that they're the team that like own that. But often there's, I guess, other teams which also across the company that just need to act in that way too. Do you feel there's a bit of a unified culture around being customer centric at Otrium, and how do you share the passion for customer centricity from support outwards?
Yeah, I think we are on a very good track to customer centricity. I think it's natural for a small company to always be customer centric and to always pay attention to every single customer request or question or review or comment. But with time, as we get bigger and the number of customers grows, of course, the customer centricity can get lost because every team becomes bigger and gets focused on their own scope of projects. But we caught on very quickly and started a few customer-centric initiatives that were co-led by us, but also marketing and tech were involved. And we have something like the customer obsession session every 2 weeks, where we not only look at the customer-centric data metrics like NPS and contact rate and things like that, but we also try to hear the voice of the customer. So like even recordings of real calls or examples of tickets, comments, questions, reviews. And this is prepared for the whole company. And in order to engage everyone in the company, we also have a quiz at the end, and there's a prize, which I think may be a bit more motivation for people to join. And we've seen an incredible amount of engagement in these sessions. So I think we're on the right track. There are still things we can do. I think when we speak about customer centricity, it's important to really have a clear vision of how everyone sees the experience we want the customer to have. It has to be a unified vision. Like when you're going on the Otrium website, how do we want the customer to feel? Or how do we want them to behave if they face an issue? So that vision has to be shared with the whole company, and every single person working at Otrium has to understand how their daily work fits in with that vision. I think that's the key to really being customer centric.
Yeah.
Because in the end, everything we do is, for the customer at the end. Like we can very easily get caught up with our projects and deadlines, the things on the roadmap, all these fancy words. But in the end, it's all for the customer. Like the key is to make them happy, to make them like our website, to be in line with our mission and continue to spread the word. That's the ultimate goal.
Definitely. Even if everyone cares, if you don't have that like one vision, people are going to be going in different directions instead of working together towards that goal. I really like the idea of just making it fun, making like the voice of customer stuff. Yeah, I'm sure a lot of people don't do that, so that's cool.
I mean, in general, making things fun in any scope is really kind of like a life hack, because any serious business meeting is just a bunch of people who are talking about a subject, and you can make it fun. You can make it interesting and engaging with either a quiz or some kind of icebreaker in the beginning. So that's also one of the things I think that stands out at Otrium, and also in the SAM team. We try to make things fun. We have a SAM fun time every week organized by a different person, where we do just different things. Sometimes they are a little bit related to Otrium or the business. Sometimes they are completely unrelated. But that's also a huge element in the engagement of people and their motivation to do the best they can in their job.
Definitely. And things are more memorable if they're fun as well, aren't they?
Absolutely.
Oh, awesome. Is there anything else that you'd like to share or like people need to know about this topic? Because from my side, I feel like we've covered some good stuff.
Yeah. I mean, all I can say is I would say that when we speak about the success of changing a partner, a BPO, it's very important also to put a lot of trust in people. And you're not always going to have all the answers. It's not going to be possible to prepare for every scenario. And in our case, we were like, everything about the future was a little bit foggy. So we tried to prepare for the worst and plan for the best, but prepare for the worst. But you never really know. So there was really there was a moment where we had to put a lot of trust in our partner, and they had to put trust in us. And I think that was also it was important for them to understand that we trust them and we are ready to give them the ownership, because that made them want to succeed. And we were in a situation where we were dependent on each other's success. That was also something that made us both really work our hardest to make this partnership successful. Yeah, so I would say that the trust is also important. But I think other than that, I've spoken a lot about the great things we've done with WeWow. And yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you. It's a great place to end. Thanks very much.